Himachal Pradesh G.K. Brief History of District Kangra. Part 3 Medieval History. Exams Point of View. Imp. For HPAS, Tehsildar and other commission exams. Presented by Commission Corner. Like, share and subscribe. For more such daily updates. It takes a lot of efforts, make it worth by helping us grow. Medieval History of Kangra. Bidhi Chand, 1585. Bidhi Chand became Raja after the death of his father Jai Chand in 1585 AD, formed an alliance of the states between Jammu and Kangra. In 1588–89, the alliance broke into the rebellion and Akbar sent Zain Khan Kaka, who successfully suppressed the revolt. After the surrender, Raja Bidhi Chand had to keep his son Trilok Chand as hostage in the court of Mughal Emperor Akbar. Another rebellion broke out in 1594–95, led by Raja of Jasrota, but Raja Bidhi Chand of Kangra and Raja Basu of Nurpur did not participate in it. Mirza Rustam Kandhari and Sheikh Farid suppressed this rebellion. Trilok Chand, 1605. In 1605, Jahangir also succeeded to the throne in Delhi. The people of Kangra have a story that when Salim, Jahangir, and Trilok were together at Delhi, the latter had a parrot which Salim wished to possess but Prince Trilok denied. As a result, Jahangir invaded Kangra on becoming the emperor. Hari Chand II, 1612. In 1615 AD, Jahangir sent his allies Raja Suraj Mal of Nurpur, Damarai, and Sheikh Farid or Murtaza Khan to capture Kangra, but some controversy broke out between the two. The plan to capture Kangra was postponed after the death of Farid Murtaza Khan. Raja Suraj Mal was recalled by Akbar and sent to Deccan to help the Prince Shah Jahan in 1616 AD. In another attempt in 1616 AD, Raja Man Singh of Jaipur was sent to capture Kangra, but he was killed by Azamandar Sangram of the hilly area. Again, in the year 1617 AD, Jahangir sent his allies Raja Suraj Mal of Nurpur and Shakuli Khan Muhammad Taqi to capture Kangra. The same story. Again, in the year 1617 AD, Jahangir sent his allies Raja Suraj Mal of Nurpur and Shakuli Khan Muhammad Taqi to capture Kangra. The same story was repeated again as some controversy broke out between Suraj Mal and Shankuli Khan, and as a result, Shankuli Khan was asked by Jahangir to retreat back. Now Raja Suraj Mal started sending away imperial troops to his Jagir and broke out into the rebellion against Mughals. Jahangir sent his able man Rajarayan Sundar Das, also called as Bikramjit, to suppress the rebellion. Raja Suraj Mal fled away to Mankot Fort, from there to Nurpur Fort, and then fled to Taragarh Fort in Chamba, where he died in 1619 AD. Kangra Fort came under the Mughals in 1620 AD. Raja Jagat Singh, younger brother of Raja Suraj Mal, helped the Mughals to capture Kangra Fort. Nawab Ali Khan was appointed as the first governor of Kangra Fort, and the Mughals ruled the fort till 1783 AD. His son Humrat Khan was the second governor. On November 20, 1620, news of the capture of Kangra Fort reached the Jahangir. Jahangir visited Damarai, present-day Nurpur, in 1622 AD and renamed Damarai as Nurpur before the name of his wife Nurjahan. Jahangir constructed a mosque inside Kangra Fort and named one of the doors of Kangra Fort as Jahangiri Darwaza. Most of the areas in the hills were given to Idamaduldaulah, Noor Jahan's father, as a Jagir. Chundar Chand, 1627. He continued guerrilla warfare against the Mughals. The only territory he was left with was above Ulampur, including Lambagram, Jaisingpur, and Bijapur, which is often called as Rajgir, on the bank of river Beas. He built a fort near Nirwana east of Dharmshala. Before his capture, he lived at a place on the outskirts of Dhauladhar called Chundarban Katila. Vijay Ram Chand, 1660. He founded the town Bijapur, which remained the residence of Rajas till the reign of Raja Gamand Chand. Bhim Chand, 1690. He followed a policy of pacific recourse and regular attendance at Mughal court, for which he was called Divan. His brother Kripal Chand made Bawarnawala Khol, watercourse, from the snow-fed Dhauladhar above Bundala, Palampur. Alam Chand, 1697. In 1697 AD, Raja Alam Chand founded Ulampur near Sujanpur Tira. Hamir Chand, 1700. In 1700 AD, Hamir Chand, son of Alam Chand, founded Hamirpur town. Abhay Chand, 1747. He built the Thakurdwara in Ulampur and a fort called Abhay Amanpur or Tira in 1748. Gamand Chand, 1751. Ahmad Shah Durrani attacked the territory of Punjab 10 times between 1748 AD and 1788 AD. In 1752, Delhi Emperor ceded Punjab along with the hill states to Ahmad Shah Durrani. Kangra Fort was still under the reign of Mughals, and the last Mughal governor of the fort was Nawab Saif Ali Khan. Taking advantage of Durrani's attacks, Raja Gamand Chand captured areas of Kangra and Dub. In 1751 AD, Gamand Chand founded Sujanpur town. In 1759 AD, Ahmad Chand Durrani transferred Jalandhar Dub and the areas between river Satluj and Ravi to Raja Gamand Chand, thus made him the governor of Jalandhar Dub. The use of dual name Sujanpur Tira dates back to his reign. Sansar Chand II, 1775. He succeeded to the throne at the age of 10. Jasas Singh Ramgarhia was the first Sikh to attack the Kangra, Chamba, and Nurpur. Sansar Chand wanted to capture Kangra Fort, which was then under the garrison of Mughal governor Saif Ali Khan. He requested Jai Singh Kanhaiya to help him against Mughals. The combined forces of Jai Singh Kanhaiya and Sansar Chand captured the Kangra Fort in 1781–82. After the conquest, in 1783 d. Jai Singh Kanhaiya took over Kangra Fort under his control and denied to give it to Sansar Chand. But eventually, in 1786 AD, Jai Singh Kanhaiya returned Kangra Fort to Sansar Chand in exchange of the territory in the plains. Another account says that Jai Singh Kanhaiya bribed Juan Khan, son of Saif Ali Khan, who was then dead, to vacate the fort, and thus got possession of it till 1786. After Kangra Fort acquisition, Sansar Chand demanded from the hill chiefs their surrender to him. He demanded Rilu area from Chamba Raja. On his refusal, Sansar Chand attached Raja Raj Singh of Chamba and defeated him in a battle at Nurdi Shapur in 1786. He also attacked Mundi, and made captive the minor Raja Ishvari Sen and kept him as a prisoner at Nadon, Hamirpur for 12 years. 1787 AD to 1805 AD was the golden period for Sansar Chand. Raja Sansar Chand was regarded as Hatim of that age and, in generosity, the Rustam of that time. His court used to be held at Amtur near Nadon in the earlier part of his reign. In 1803-04, he invaded the plains near Hoshiarpur and Bajwara but was defeated by Ranjit Singh. Then he moved towards Kalur in 1794 AD and annexed the part lying right bank of Satluj. This act led to the downfall of his kingdom. Raja of Kalur Mahan Chand in alliance with the other hill rulers invited Gurkha Amar Singh Thapa to counter Raja Sansar Chand. Chamba Raja Jit Singh sent a force under Wazir Nathu to assist the Gurkhas. A battle took place at Mahal Morian, in Hamirpur, in 1805, in which Amar Singh Thapa defeated Raja Sansar Chand. Gurkhas on reaching Nadon also liberated Raja Ishvari Sen. Sansar Chand took the position at Tiras Sujanpur after the defeat. He made a request for help to Ranjit Singh through his brother Fateh Chand against Gurkhas and offered Kangra fort as the price of help. Ranjit Singh accepted his request, and month-long negotiations took place at Jwalamukha temple between Sansar Chand and Ranjit Singh, and a treaty was signed on July 20, 1809 known as Jwalamukha Treaty. In 1809, Ranjit Singh with his army advanced towards Kangra, defeated Gurkhas, and pushed them to the east of Satluj River. In order to make Sansar Chand fulfill all conditions under the Jwalamukha Treaty of 1809, Ranjit Singh kept his son Anirudh Chand as a hostage under the charge of Fateh Singh Ahluwalia. On August 24, 1809, Kangra Fort and 66 villages in the Kangra Valley came under the possession of Ranjit Singh. Disa Singh Majithia was appointed as governor of Kangra Fort, succeeding Naurang Wazir. Sansar Chand died in December 1824. Once Fateh Singh, brother of Sansar Chand, was taken ill and all hope of his survival was gone. Even preparations of his funeral had started and Ranis being ready to become Sathi when Mr. Moorcraft with his medicinal skills able to save his life. Fateh Singh exchanged his turban for Moorcraft's hat and made him his brother by adoption. Anirudh Chand, 1824. Ranjit Singh demanded 2 lakh rupees were Nazrana from Anirudh Chand to accede the Guddi, but he could pay only 1 lakh and rest was remitted. Prince Kuruk Singh, son of Ranjit Singh, exchanged turbans in token of brotherhood with Anirudh Chand. In 1827, when Anirudh Chand visited Ranjit's court, he was asked for the hand of one of his sisters to the Hira Singh, son of Rajadhyan Singh of Jammu, who was the Prime Minister of Maharaja Ranjit Singh. This proposal was unacceptable to Anirudh Chand, but he accepted it under pressure. Anirudh Chand delayed the marriage for 1 year intentionally, and then Ranjit Singh marched towards Nadon to speed up the marriage, if necessary by means of force. On hearing this, Anirudh Chand sent his family across the river Satluj and himself fled into British territory. When Ranjit Singh reached Nadon, Fateh Chand, the younger brother of Sansar Chand, offered his own granddaughter in marriage to Raja Hira Singh. In return, he received Rajgir Pargana as Jagir. Anirudh Chand married his 2 sisters to the Raja Tutari Garewal. On March 9, 1846, Kangra directly came under British control. The offshoots of the Kangra were Gular, Jaswan, Datarpur, Siba, Nurpur, Kutalhar, and Bara Banghal. Without these states, the history of Kangra will remain incomplete. Kindly like, share and subscribe to Commission Corner for more Himachal Pradesh General Knowledge exam-oriented series and current affairs of the state. It takes a lot of efforts, make it worth by helping us grow. Thank you.